Happiness Machine podcast. My name is Lindsay, and this is where I discuss my makes. In this episode, we're going to be talking about my sock yarn that I finished, my 2 whips that I'm working on, and a third that I never discuss, and a little bit about Dorset Fiber and some book recommendations that I have. Oh, and some purchases, some small business purchases, because I love small businesses. Always gives me a good warm feeling. So welcome, and let's get into it. Just to give you a little bit of information about me, my name is Lindsay Bowie. I am from Detroit, Michigan, but I live in Maryland, a little bit outside of DC with my kids and my partner and my dog. And yeah, I'm a former adult educator. I used to teach ESL to immigrants and refugees, and I loved that work, but now I have kids and they're my full-time job now. And that's okay, because that's okay. That's okay. All right, so let's get into it. What am I working on right now? Let's start with the smallest item. I finished a sock. I finished a sock for my daughter. Still using the Rye-Light pattern from Tin Can Knits. Nothing sewed in. The first time I made this sock, when I did the Kitchener stitch at the toe, it looked amazing. It was too small. So I picked it and extended it. The colorway for this is from Treehouse Knits, her Cocoa collection. This is the colorway Marigold Bridge. It's the Marigold Bridge sock combo. So I have no idea what this blue is called, but I'm kind of upset with myself for not getting this and this, like just buying this and this and just losing my mind, because I love this so much. My daughter loves this sock. However, I'm keeping it in the bag because my kids lose things, and I know that they'll lose some socks because, well, we all have lost socks, so. But I'm keeping this so that I can also make an exact match. Mistakes abound, but so much neater than the other socks that I've made. So I'm very excited about starting that. I'll start the second sock for her next week, because this week is Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's coming up. So my second whip. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, second whip. I went to New York in October for my birthday, just to kind of get away. I went and saw, we used to live in New York, so we have friends there, and hung out with my friend. Had a chance to sit down and crochet color work. And I started the Aztec sweater by NomadStitches. This sweater is also by NomadStitches. I'll try and put a link to that below. I'll put a name in the description box below. But I am so in love with this. This yarn is from Sweet Georgia. So this is their Tough Love sock. I don't know the colorway yet. I don't have the colorways in my mind. I'll see if I can find them for later, but I have about an inch left of color work before I split for the sleeves. And I'm excited about that. I've made some mistakes in this, but we make mistakes. Mistakes happen. But I'm very, very, very happy about it. And it looks absolutely gorgeous. And there's also short row shaping in the back. So you have some short rows to give that lift up in the back. So yeah. And this is in the size small because it does have some positive ease to it. And I wanted, just wanted mine to not be not thick or too big, because I have I made this one too big. I love it. But it's just for the way that I'm wearing my clothes now, in my mom life is different from what I was doing before. So yeah. So I hope to be finished with this by January. It's slow. After the color work is quick at the top, but then as you're doing your increases, it's just a lot. And I like to take my time. I don't like to rush, because what's the point? What's the point of rushing? So now I want to go into the spinning segment of this podcast. I'm going to show you from kind of start to end my sock spinning. So I hope you enjoy it. This is how much I have from one bobbin. I'm going to add this to this. I have another bobbin that I'm working on that is almost full. And then I have a third to do. I know originally I said I would do a 2-ply sock yarn, but upon finishing the class that I took on spinning for socks, I decided that a 2-ply, although would be quicker and would probably be like really close to a fingering weight yarn, it wasn't worth it. And because I'm taking another class on like figuring out the gauge and the number and everything, I decided to put together a little sock recipe for myself and do a sock study. I know. If you can do a deep dive, why don't you? If you can figure out a lot of stuff, there's a lot of options for yarn you can make for socks. And I thought that was fantastic, and I wanted to really get into it. So this and this will hopefully be finished by this week, which it's Thursday now. So maybe not, because I don't spin on the weekends, because weekends are for family. But I am very excited. The second thing I want to talk about as far as socks go, I did a gauge swatch. Is it fantastic, honey? This really, like, really inside of me just hurt. And you know, the DNA test came back. I'm a loose knitter, and so I'm not excited, but at least I have the information. It's always better to have the knowledge and then to adjust. So now I don't have to try to make my stitches super duper tight. I can just cast on less stitches. So this was the beginning. Really excited about that. So although this was something I was working on in the last episode, I ripped it back and decided to just do a swatch. And that was extraordinarily helpful. I could not tell you how much better I feel about moving forward. So what am I going to be doing for this first sock study project? I'm going to be making a 3-ply sock yarn. I'm going to do a gauge swatch. I'm going to plug in the numbers and figure out what kind of stitches I need to, how many stitches I need to cast on. It might not be, it'll probably be a thicker yarn than fingering weight. It might be a sport weight yarn for these socks. Because although my spinning is consistent, it's still not super duper fine. So I'm really excited to see how that comes out, because I am having a joyful time spinning this Dorset. This Dorset is fantastic. I'm thinking about picking up some more. I did order some more from Akara Yarns, so the last one in a colorway I do not know. It is on its way. Hopefully it's coming. So I'm really excited. The second thing, is there a second thing? That was the second thing. For socks, there's nothing. There's one more, but I can talk about that later. So yeah, that's my sock update for now. I'm sure there'll be another sock update in the future. Today is Tuesday, November the 15th, and I have just this much to spin. It is from my wheel. I'm really excited to finish it up and let the bobbins rest. Since today is Tuesday, I'm hoping to ply. This weekend. Saturday is my birthday, so maybe I'll get time to spin, but if not, it is what it is. But I'm just happy to finish. So let's finish it up. Okay. Would you like to see the yarn? It's not perfect. I'm getting better at consistency. This yarn was, I measured as I was doing it, putting it on the Nitty Knotty. I messed up the counting, so I have no idea how much this is. I think it's 350, 250, 450. I messed up real big, and I'm now debating on whether I need one of those electric counters. I don't know. At any rate, it's overspun in some areas, underspun in some areas. We have some little dibby-dab dubs right here that got off task. But I have to say I'm very impressed with the consistency. I do believe I spun it too hard. So, but when I squish it, it's so squishy. It's so squishy, but it feels rough. It's not super duper soft, but it is kind of an all-purpose yarn. And why don't I just read a little bit about it from the Fleece and Fiber source book, just a couple chapters. paragraphs, girl, paragraphs. For example, under using Dorset horn and pulled Dorset fiber, because it can be both, it says for fiber preparation and spinning tips, this is a versatile moderate wool amenable to carding or combing, depending on length. It can also be spun from the staple. The longer fleeces will be more open, with more open crimp patterns are quite easy to spin, and the more down-like fleeces with shorter staples may require more experience to control. And under knitting, crocheting, and weaving, the fleece can be spun either for airiness, woolen spun, or compactness, or worsted spun, which is what I did, worsted spun, and is appropriate for use with all techniques for making everyday garments, blankets, and the like. Best known for versatile medium wool, cleanly white in most cases, with some black sheep as well. And pulled means without the horn, horn means with the horn, and I believe in both Australia and America is where they were bred to be without horns. So I don't know if this is Dorset horn or pulled Dorset, but I have to be honest with you, I cannot wait to start knitting with this. I know I was saying like, oh, I should have like a particular sock pattern to really gauge how these socks are going, but there's a pattern I have in mind for this yarn, and I know it has nothing to do with consistency of like how it's being spun. I just want to mess around. And because as I was spinning this, I was looking at it and I was like, wow, this yarn is so round, because I very rarely spin 3-ply yarn. And I think, and spinning this has really said, you should change that. You should start spinning 3-ply yarn more often. Another thing that I learned is that I can't do marathon spinning. I should only do 20 minutes every day, which is what I've been doing since I started spinning. So, yeah. So no marathons, no more like getting things done in a month. Time is not of the essence. I have time. I have nothing but time, and I tend to use it wisely. So very excited about this. See, you're just like, it's rustic, it's scratchy, but like on the feet, I feel like this is gonna really be a durable sock yarn. Next time I spin it, I won't spin the singles so hard. I don't think I overplied it too much, but I definitely know I spun the singles too hard. Things to know for next time. Just to give you a little quick update on my spinning for my long-term project. In my little spinning drawer, I have spun this. Last episode, I think I talked about how this is like a semi-worsted yarn. It's not. Short backward is worsted, but I'm a person. And when I think of things, I usually think of them on a spectrum. So true worsted to me would be over here as short forward. And then the closer you get to the center, which would be probably over the fold or over the tip, would be right in the middle of semi on both sides. And then you have your woolen spun yarns all the way over to the left. So, and this is in my visual mind. This has nothing to do with anything else. So the closer we move towards that center of the spectrum is where we get away from true worsted. This is true worsted. This was spun short forward, but you don't have to spin just short forward to get worsted spun. This is worsted spun, but it will be a little bit loftier than this, and that's just the difference. So I just wanted to clear that up for you and everybody else, for myself as well. I only have one more bump left of this, and I'm excited to get started plying it, which will happen next week. Not plying it. I have this bump left, but I'm excited to start the process. All right. Let me look at my notes. That's all that I have. So I think I'm going to start a blog and kind of explore what I'm doing with my sock yarn, but I have no idea. I already have a vlog. Do I need a blog? I already have a notebook. Do I need a digital? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. So let me take a sip of my coffee today because I needed it. And let's look at the book recommendations that I have. The first book recommendation is because it's Native American Heritage Month. And it is We Sang You Home by Richard Van Camp, illustrated by Julie Flett. I love this book. This book is about welcoming children into the world, welcoming babies. And We Sang You Home. So I believe in some Native indigenous traditions, when they decide to have a baby, they'll sing a song for the baby so that the spirit will come. We sang you from a wish. We sang you from a prayer. Little ones. My little one loves this book. And songs to let you know that you are loved. I love this book. Let me tell you how it was illustrated. Artwork created using gouache. I know what gouache means. I don't think this is gouache. Gouache on paper and digital collage. This is good for the little ones. Great for the little ones. I love it. The second book that I have, because I have two, because if you didn't know, this was a voting year. This was an election year. And we took the kids, separately to go vote, and it was a lovely experience for both of them. This book is called Granddaddy's Turn, A Journey to the Ballot Box. I read this book to my son by Mike. Let me tell you who the author is, Lindsay. Come on, Lindsay. By Michael S. Bandy and Eric Stein, illustrated by James E. Ransome. I read this book to my son and it was too much because he's in elementary school. So I would say high elementary, 4th, 5th grade and up to middle school. It talks about the literacy tests that people of color had to take. Black people, because I don't know if everybody was doing this, but because I don't know what was going on in California with Asian immigrants. But I know they weren't getting treated too well either. But this is about the South with Black people and the literacy tests that his grandfather had to take, and how his granddaddy's turn came when he went to the ballot box. And I looked it up earlier. The illustrations are done with watercolor. And I just love this book. And let me show you some pages. See? Granddaddy passed away before he ever got a chance to vote. I never forgot that day he tried to vote. My granddaddy was so mad he might have lost his temper, but he knew better than me how important that day was. Even though it wasn't his time to vote that day, he looked to the future. I cried like a baby. I cried like a baby at the end of this book. And maybe not like a baby, but, my son was like, why are you always crying? Probably. But we're emotional. My baby's up. That's the end of our episode. I got summoned. All right. Thank you so much for putting up with me today. If you like this episode, you can hit like, subscribe, all that stuff, and you'll see me soon. Have a great day. And I'm coming. Have a great day. And happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving.